The police came and they listened patiently to my story. They checked all around my house, but there were no signs of any intruder. All the windows and doors were still firmly locked, and there was no sign of forced entry, nor had any of my possessions been taken or even moved.
Interesting.
The officers assured me that it was no problem, that they were happy to help, all in that tone that told me that they thought I was just a senile old man hearing things in the night. I thanked them as they left, even though they had been of no help whatsoever, and spent the rest of the day searching for the key to my bedroom door. I found it in the end, and hoped that with it firmly locked, I could sleep a bit easier that night.
I don't know if I'd be sleeping there that night. I might get a hotel for a few nights. You know what I'm saying? Like, that'd be the kind of thing where it's like, I'm going to set up some kind of like camera security system in my house so I can like see what's going on, and then, you know, go check into a hotel for a few nights and just have like a laptop sitting on a nightstand and just watch my house from afar. See what's up. 'Cause like that, no. Yeah, I'm out of there, brother. I'm out of there. What's going on, everybody? John Matrix here. Hope you're all having yourselves a wonderful day wherever you're at and whenever you're watching this. We're going to be jumping into another episode of the Magnus Archives here today. We're going to be checking out episode 27, A Sturdy Lock. Links, as always, will be down below in the description to the Magnus Archives playlist, to the Rusty Quill Podcast YouTube channel, and to their website. Please do me a favor. If you've been enjoying the series as much as I have, be sure to go over to their YouTube channel, like all the videos that you've enjoyed, hit that sub button if you haven't done so already, check out their website, check out their Patreon, check out their YouTube memberships, or any kind of ways that you can give them some extra love and support if you would like to do so. You can do the same for my channel if you would like to. There's a join button underneath the video, as well as a link in the description to the YouTube membership benefits and tiers that I have to offer. You can check those out. If you would like to take your support for my channel to the next level. We also have a lot of playlists for other universes that I've done reactions to. Warhammer 40k, the SCP Foundation, Warhammer Fantasy, Backrooms, Kaiserreich, you know, an alternative World War I history kind of documentary, which is very fascinating. There should be some more videos coming out for that soon-ish. I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, you can check that stuff out if you guys would have any interest in doing so. Regardless, thank you very much for coming in and hanging out and checking out the video. I hope you do enjoy it. If you do, consider leaving a like and a sub. It helps me and the channel grow. All right, with all the YouTube plugs done, let's jump into this video here. Again, this is Magnus Archives number 27, A Sturdy Lock. Do it.
Rusty Quill presents the Magnus Archives.
How's the wife and kids?
Episode
They're stringing
27,
ominously at the moment. That's what they're doing.
Lock.
Now, before we get too deep into this, I just want to say the last couple of episodes that we did, we're starting to expand on the overall kind of lore of the Magnus Archives universe. So I'm interested to see if we're going to get more expansion, where all that stuff's going to kind of go. But anyway, yes, continue.
Statement of Paul Mackenzie regarding repeated nocturnal intrusions into his home. Original statement given August 24th, 2003. Audio recording by Jonathan Sims, head archivist of the Magnus Institute, London. Statement begins.
I am finding it also interesting how we're jumping through kind of time, I guess, with some of these, you know, various statements. Some of them are from like, I believe in present time in the Magnus Archives. In the last video, they said it was 2016, right? And that was like something that happened like literally like a day or so before when the statement was given. So I think in present time it's 2016 in the Magnus Archives, but you know, we've jumped down to statements of people from things happening in the 1800s and then early 1900s and then early to mid 2000s and even into the early 20 teens. So it's just interesting how a lot of these are jumping around through time. And I wonder also if that has any more overarching meaning in the Magnus Archive story, if certain times and dates like have more significant meaning, and we'll find out more of that as we go along. But anyway, let's continue.
It's strange to live alone. Maybe not if you're used to it, I suppose. If you've lived a solitary life, then I'm sure it doesn't feel so isolated or empty. Heck, I remember a time when I wouldn't have batted an eyelid at living on my own. But now I'm so used to having other people in the house that it's a sad, lonely existence I found myself living. Even before I started having my nightly visitor. My son Marcus moved out about 2 years ago. And before that he'd spent...
You know, I don't know why, but just this statement right there, my normal nightly visitor, to make me wonder, like, is he having a sleep paralysis demon kind of thing going on? And then I was also, my brain was like, I wonder if the Magnus Archives is going to do some kind of twist on that. There's going to be any kind of story about some kind of like sleep paralysis demon entity or something like that, because that would be pretty terrifying. Anyway.
A lot of time away at university. Marcus moved out about 2 years ago. And before that he'd spent a lot of time away at university or later moving around because of his work. So I'd grown accustomed to his absence. But when Diane, my wife, passed away 4 months ago, it has left the place so terribly hollow. I tell myself that it was a mercy, that by the end her condition meant she wasn't able to live as she deserved to. And while I'm sure it's true, the sentiment does little to make the bed seem anything other than far too large for just me. She'd hate me saying that. Diane never had any time for mopers or people who wallowed in self-pity, but after 40 years of marriage, I think I've earned it.
Damn.
The thing about living in a house full of people...
I mean, nowadays, if you can get a marriage to last for that long, I mean, that's an accomplishment. That means you've either truly found the right person or you guys worked hard to make that relationship work, or both.
Is that you can just ignore any noises that you hear in the night. Is that a creak on the stairs? It's probably just someone going down for a glass of water. Was that a thump? Probably Marcus, up too late and accidentally knocking things off the table. I know it doesn't actually make you less likely to be robbed or broken into, but you stop panicking about it every time you hear the slightest noise from outside your room. I think that's normal, at least. I've never considered myself to have a nervous disposition, but maybe other people just get on with things and don't worry so much. Still, since Diane died, my nights have become a constant vigil. No house is silent if you listen hard enough. And since ending up alone, I have been listening so hard that at points I have to remind myself to breathe. Now every soft groan of the settling house is the sound of some violent thug or burglar in my home, waiting to see if they need to kill me. Marcus has suggested I get a pet, so the house doesn't feel so empty, but I've never had a pet before, and I'm too old.
The reintroduction of Major Tom incoming.
To learn now. Given how alert and paranoid I generally am when trying to sleep in an empty house, I'm sure you can imagine my terror when I heard something outside my room one night about a month ago. I've lived in the same house since I married Diane, and I know every squeaky floorboard. It was the one just at the top of the stairs. I waited, desperately straining my ears to hear any other sound of movement. I had heard no windows break or doors open downstairs, and I definitely hadn't heard anyone coming up the stairs. But I was convinced there was someone there. I could feel their presence, waiting on the landing. At they realized how loud the floorboard was? Or they stood there, motionless, listening for any movement from me just as keenly as I was listening for them? Then the sound came again, and I was sure there was someone stood at the top of the stairs, but rather than staying there, I began to hear the heavy tread of what was unmistakably footsteps. At first, I simply lay there, paralyzed.
Yeah, at that point, I'd be getting ready for combat, brother. You know, A, I'd probably pick up the phone and just go ahead and dial 911, but B, I'm looking for some kind of weapon to defend myself and destroy whatever is potentially about to come through the door.
With fear, thinking that I would just stay, let them take anything they wanted from the house and call the police once they had left. But from what I could make out, they didn't seem to be going into any of the other rooms. They were slowly and deliberately walking towards my bedroom. The door does have a lock on it, but it's been so long since I even thought to use it that at the time I couldn't even think where the key might have been. My heart almost stopped when I heard the door handle rattle, ever so gently as a hand was placed upon the other side. And slowly, so painfully slowly, the doorknob began to turn. In a burst of adrenaline I didn't even know I was capable of, I sprang out of the bed and across the room. I seized the handle and twisted it back the other way, using both hands to try and match the strength of whoever was on the other side. Still the handle tried to turn, with a slow, relentless effort that spoke of patience and determination. But sheer panic lent me equal strength. My hands began to grow wet with what I assumed at the time was sweat, and I worried about keeping my grip. I did, though. For 20 long minutes, I wrestled in the dark over the door handle of my room. I could have reached the light switch, but that would have meant having only one hand to keep on the door, so I stayed in the dark. Then all at once, the pressure vanished. The handle no longer tried to turn. I had heard no other sound from outside, though. No footsteps leading away, no sound of someone going down the stairs. The house was just silent.
That would creep me the F out. I'm sorry, but it would. I immediately, like I said, be calling the police and be like, yo, man, someone broke into my house, tried to open the door. I don't know. I prevented them from getting in, etc. Blah, blah, blah. Get over here ASAP, brother.
I stood there.
And he says this has been happening like nightly for a while now. Like, how do you sleep? How do you live? Right?
For the rest of the night, the handle gripped tight. And it wasn't until the first rays of sun peeked through the windows that I found I had the courage to open my bedroom door and look outside. Nothing. I was so stiff that I could barely walk back to my bed and dial the number for the police. It was as I reached for the phone that I looked at my hands and saw that what was on them was not sweat. It was blood.
Yeah, that's what I figured, right? He'd been gripping it so hard that he cut his hand up on the door handle.
I checked all over my hands and arms for cuts or injuries. Nothing.
Really?
The door handle was completely clean.
Okay, never mind.
I washed my hands thoroughly before I dialed 999. The police came and they listened patiently to my story. They checked all around my house, but there were no signs of any intruder. All the windows and doors were still firmly locked, and there was no sign of forced entry, nor had any of my possessions been taken or even moved.
Interesting.
The officers assured me that it was no problem, that they were happy to help, all in that tone that told me that they thought I was just a senile old man hearing things in the night. I thanked them as they left, even though they had been of no help whatsoever, and spent the rest of the day searching for the key to my bedroom door. I found it in the end, and hoped that with it firmly locked, I could sleep a bit easier that night.
I don't know if I'd be sleeping there that night. I might get a hotel for a few nights. You know what I'm saying? Like, that'd be the kind of thing where it's like, I'm going to set up some kind of like camera security system in my house so I can like see what's going on, and then, you know, go check into a hotel for a few nights and just have like a laptop sitting on a nightstand and just watch my house from afar, see what's up. 'Cause like that, no. Yeah. Yeah. I'm out of there, brother. I'm out of there.
I was wrong. When evening came, I tried to sleep. At least, I had convinced myself that I was trying to sleep. Actually, I was listening for any sign that the intruder had returned. Every creak of the house settling, every whine of the pipes sent me into a state of near terror. By 2 o'clock in the morning, I had heard nothing, and had almost convinced myself that I would not be visited again, when there was that slow, ominous creak of the floorboard at the top of the stairs.
And like, if I'm staying at the house, dude, I'm like going home alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm setting up all kinds of booby traps, caltrops at the bottom of the stairs, all kinds of like stuff that'll come out of the walls and jab them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm setting up everything that I can think of. Because if someone's like trying to break into this house, they're going down with me. You know what I'm saying?
Yes. As before, the footsteps approached my bedroom, heavy and methodical. I turned on my bedside lamp and watched as once again the handle of the door began to turn. I could see the pressure being put on the door by whoever was on the other side. But it was locked, and as the door failed to open, there was a long pause. Then it began to turn violently back and forth, rattling and banging as it rotated with such force that I worried it might come off entirely. I let out a cry as the assault intensified and phoned again for the police. It took them 12 minutes to reach me, and all the while my bedroom door shook with the relentless turning of the handle, but the lock held firm.
So it's interesting, right, that earlier he'd said that there was blood, you know, on the door, or there was blood on his hands, but there was nothing from the doorknob. It was completely clean. So I wonder what that symbolizes, right? He had no cuts on his hand. So it's almost like whatever was trying to open the door on the other side, the blood seeped through maybe the door lock and got on his hand somehow. But I wonder what kind of significance that might have, right? And if there's any kind of connection with his wife in some way, because all this started like after his wife died, right? Anyway, let's continue.
As soon as the doorbell rang, it went immediately still and silent. I didn't want to unlock and open the door, but if I didn't, the police officers might break down my front door, or even worse, leave. What happened next was almost identical to what had happened the day before, except this time there was less gentle tolerance in their voices when they spoke to me. I got the clear impression that if I called them again without proof, there would be undesirable consequences. One of the two muttered something about how difficult it must be for me to live on my own. A message I got loud and clear. I have no intention of being put in a home. And so, for the last month, I have lain awake almost every night, as whatever it is beyond the threshold of my bedroom tries with all its might to get in.
Again, right? Like, you didn't think to try to, like, go sleep in a hotel or something like that for a night or two and see what happens? See if this thing follows you, whatever it is, right? Like, if it's just isolated to your house, then you could be like, all right, I'm getting the fuck out of there and I'm selling this house. Something, you know what I mean?
I watch the doorknob obsessively, always waiting for the signs of that gentle turning. The first ones are always so slow. I tried to get proof for the police. I got Marcus to stay over with me a few nights in the hope of either scaring the intruder away or having a witness who could corroborate my story. Those were the only nights I got any peace. Nothing came up to my door when he was there. In some ways it was a relief. to have a way of ensuring I could sleep. But it gave me no evidence to convince anyone, and I know he didn't believe me when I told him what was going on. He just looked worried when I brought it up, and I didn't mention it again. Unfortunately, I can't get Marcus to stay with me every night. He has his own life to lead and is living with his fiancée at the moment, so I can't just ask him to move back in with his dad. I tried to set up some cameras in the upstairs hallway, at the top of the stairs and outside of my room, but they show nothing. They don't even pick up the door handle turning. Even at times I know for certain that the thing was trying to get inside.
Interesting.
There was only one moment, just a frame or two, I think, where the shadows the camera caught on the wall seemed to almost form a face. It seemed to be leering at me, the mouth wide open in a mock scream. It scared me so badly that I had to delete the footage. I have no evidence for the police. Or for you either, I suppose. I guess that's why I'm here.
You know, come to think of it, this episode has just made me kind of, I guess, I don't know, come to a certain kind of realization, but it's like, if the people that are giving their statements, right, some of them are just giving it to him, I guess, just to give it to him, but like in this guy's case, he almost sounds like he's kind of seeking help, right? And it's like, is there anything the Magnus Institute would do to help him? Would they, other than just like, I guess, send someone to investigate his house, right? But beyond that, like, what else would they be able to do, or would they do anything like help someone in this kind of situation, you know? And would they help? Is there anything that they would have done to try to help any of the statement givers in the past? That right now it just seems like there's collecting information to archive, you know. But if there's ever a situation, I mean, especially from the last episode with Sasha, you know, and you know everything that happened with Michael and her finding one of those, you know, maggot colonies and dealing with it, right? That like there's definitely some more serious stuff going on. Is the Institute going to kind of try to shift its focus a little bit more just from collecting information and archiving it to like actively trying to work against some of these things? Is there even kind of a way that they can do that? I've kind of speculated on that a little bit before, if that's where this, you know, some of this series is going to go with some of its other characters that they might introduce. But anyway, but yeah, I'm just curious, like in this kind of situation where this guy kind of sounds like, you know, he's giving a statement, but it also sounds like he's almost kind of pleading for help because he doesn't really know what else to do. What, if anything, would any of them be able to do to help him, you know?
This is what you people do. You investigate these things. You know what to look for. You can identify the signs of things that aren't right. You know, not of this world. I'm not saying it's a ghost or anything like that. It's just that, well, if it was a ghost, you'd be the ones to talk to, right? I just need it to stop. And I don't want to be put in a home. I know they will. If I keep telling them about how my door handle rattles and turns every night, they'll think I'm senile and useless and send me to a home, and I will not let that happen. It's my house. And I don't care how much it scares me, nothing is going to make me give it up. Maybe Marcus is right. Maybe I should get a dog. Statement ends. I want to believe Mr. Mackenzie. I really do. I'm not entirely made
John
of
the
stone,
Skeptic.
and I'm apt to be moved by the plea of a scared old man as much as anybody. I mean, dementia is of course the most likely explanation, and he admits himself that he has no proof of any of it. Yet part of me still wants to believe him. Perhaps this job is making me sentimental. In any case, it's a moot point. Mr. Mackenzie died of a stroke some 2 months after making this statement, and there doesn't seem to be any obvious connection between his passing and his statement to the Institute. When this was originally logged, apparently we did send a then member of the research staff, one Sarah Carpenter, to take some readings of the house. Apparently she felt there was little enough danger to justify an overnight vigil at the place, but like everyone else in Mr. Mackenzie's tale, she encountered no strangeness or intruders on the upstairs landing or in any other part of the building. Sasha, who was now returned after her brief convalescence, has confirmed the call-outs against police reports, and they do appear to match, though obviously they're rather light on detail. Martin made contact with the son, Marcus Mackenzie, but he declined to talk to us, saying that he'd already made his statement. This leads me to believe that Marcus Mackenzie may also have a statement lurking somewhere here in the archives, lost among the mess and misfiling.
Interesting.
The only other thing that stands out from this as strange is that Sarah Carpenter, the researcher originally sent to look into this back in 2003, took some rather detailed photographs of the interior and layout of the house. Looking through them now, it strikes me that the bedroom door, to which Mr. Mackenzie refers so often, does not appear to have a keyhole or any sort of lock.
Interesting.
End recording.
Huh.
The Magnus Archives is a podcast distributed by rustyquill.com and licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution Non-Commercial Share-alike International License. Today's episode was written and performed by Jonathan Sims. It was produced by Alexander J. Newell, Mike LeBeau, and Murray Porter, and directed by Alexander J. Newell. To comment on episodes, make donations, and view links, images, videos, and show notes, visit rustyquill.com. Rate and review us on iTunes, visit us on Facebook, tweet us on Twitter @TheRustyQuill, or email us at mail@rustyquill.com. Thanks for listening.
Well, there you go. You heard them. Those are all the ways you can check them out. Links will be down below in the description, as always, to the Magnus Archives playlist, the Rusty Quill Podcast YouTube channel, and to their website. So please do me a favor. If you've been enjoying this series as much as I have, go over to their YouTube channel, like all the videos you've enjoyed, hit that sub button, check out their website, check out their Patreon, check out their YouTube membership stuff. See about any kind of ways that you can give them some extra love and support. This is, I'm not sure exactly what to think about this episode. This episode is interesting in some ways, but seems like it doesn't necessarily lead anywhere. Although it seems like there might be kind of a second part to this episode with the son, who says they've already given, his statement. So we might have a follow-up or some other kind of connection, or perhaps the son might have experienced something else that will connect into this in the future. We'll see. But I mean, the interesting thing is that the door lock or the door to his bedroom has no kind of lock. And he's convinced that there was a key and there was a lock to his door. So what does that mean? What does that mean? That's the, I guess, kind of the real question. I mean, is he just senile? Is he just having some kind of dementia? I mean, in these stories, that generally is not the case. There, are supernatural stuff going on, but perhaps, who knows? Doesn't sound like it, from his statement. He sounds pretty together and coherent. He's able to give it clearly and concisely and remember events well. So, I mean, with signs of dementia, that's usually not a thing. So it would seem to indicate that there is more going on than meets the eye. So yeah, I wonder if there was something more going on. What I believe Sarah Carpenter was the name of the Archive Institute, Magnus Institute, a person who was working at the time, probably under Gertrude. And again, I have my suspicions about stuff with Gertrude and Gertrude's era. So maybe again, this will have some other kind of connection in the future, and we'll learn more about it. So I don't know, but interesting episode. I feel like because of the way it ended with him saying that the son also gave a statement, that this episode is kind of like a build-up, or at least like a background story for another one that we're going to get in the future. Like this one, we'll get more context to this one in the future, but we'll see. Anyway, that was Magnus Archives episode 27, A Sturdy Lock, which doesn't even seem like it was really even there. But yeah, like I said, links will be down below in the description to all their stuff, so you can check them out and find ways to give them some extra love and support if you would like to. You can do the same to my channel if you want to. There was a join button underneath the video, as well as a link in the description to the YouTube membership benefits and tiers that I have to offer. You can check those out and see if it would have any interest for you. We also have a lot of playlists for other universes that I do reactions to: the SCP Foundation, Warhammer 40k, Warhammer Fantasy, some analog horror stuff, Greylog, the Backrooms, all that kind of stuff. So if any of that has any interest for you, you can always check those out as well. But regardless, thank you guys for watching. I greatly appreciate all the support, all the comments, all the love. I've really been enjoying the Magnus Archive series lately, and it's been great seeing all your comments on how you've been, enjoying re-listening to the series along with me, and enjoying my theories and thoughts and speculations. So greatly appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video of mine, consider leaving a like and subs. It helps me and the channel grow. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. Hope you're having yourselves a wonderful day. We'll see you.